After 3 years of sleeping in separate beds, my husband took me for a medical checkup and, for the first time, mentioned wanting a child with me. The condition was that he would take care of his former flame, who had been in an accident, for 3 months. I didn't react dramatically this time. Instead, I went home, packed his things for the hospital stay, and then moved out all my belongings, leaving only a divorce agreement on the table. 3 months later, when my husband returned to an empty room, he was utterly panicked. Chapter 1. My husband brought me to the obstetrics and gynecology department of the hospital. He said, "Let's have a baby. Let's ask the doctor what we need to prepare for conception." My heart started pounding. We had been married for 3 years, but Alex never wanted to touch me and even suggested separate beds. This was the first time he had ever brought up such a request. After completing the checkup, I was excited to find Alex, who was waiting outside, only to see him pushing a woman out of the elevator. My smile instantly froze. It was Lily, Alex's first love. The woman had a cast on her foot. As I approached, Alex was bending down, listening to her tenderly. Seeing me, Lily looked surprised. "Hi Ella, what brings you to the hospital?" I glanced at the man standing beside her. "I'm here for a pre-pregnancy checkup." "Pre-pregnancy checkup?" Lily's expression stiffened, and she grabbed Alex's hand in a panic. "Alex, are you going to leave me?" Alex glared at me angrily and gently reassured Lily. "No, don't overthink it. Wait here for me for a moment." He walked over, grabbed my arm, and pulled me aside. Before I could speak, Alex said, "I promised to have a child with you, but it'll have to wait for 3 months. Lily was in an accident, and I need to take care of her." Something I'd been longing for over the past 3 years was now being used as a bargaining chip for him to care for Lily. For a moment, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "You know her parents are abroad. If I don't take care of her, no one will." He rambled on, trying to persuade me. I lowered my head, holding back my tears. "All right. Do you need help packing my things?" Alex was momentarily surprised that I didn't argue. He nodded. "I almost forgot. Just call me when you're done packing." "Okay, I'll head home now." Chapter 2. I first learned about Lily 3 years ago on Valentine's Day. I had prepared a candlelight dinner to surprise Alex. However, he called to say he had to entertain a client. Alex was always busy with work, and we rarely had time to bond. I didn't want to miss this chance, so I spoke gently. "That's fine. I'll wait for you, no matter how late you come back." There was a moment of silence on the other end, followed by a low "Okay." I held my phone and waited by the table all night. But Alex never came home by dawn. Instead, I received a friend request on my phone. After accepting it, I habitually checked the person's profile. Her background photo was a picture of herself. The girl was beautiful, but I didn't recognize her. Just as I was about to ask why she added me, I noticed a recent post on her profile. "A friend I haven't seen in years came to pick me up at the airport. True feelings are fearless of distance and time." The post included a selfie with a man's hand in the corner. The watch on the wrist was identical to the one I had given Alex as a Valentine's Day gift. For some reason, an impulse drove me to zoom in on the photo. The watch I gave Alex had a small scratch on the face from when he was unwrapping it. The watch in the photo had a scratch in the same spot. My breath quickened as I checked the post's timestamp. It was posted at 11 o'clock last night. While I was waiting for him to come home for Valentine's Day, Alex had gone to pick up Lily, who had just returned to the country, and spent the entire night with her. Since then, the name Lily had become a sore point between us. Chapter 3. I packed Alex's things and called him. Lily answered the phone. "Hi Ella, Alex is washing some fruit for me. Do you need him for something?" My breath caught. Alex had beautiful hands. I had always been afraid that dish soap would ruin them, so I never let him do housework. But now, he was cooking and cleaning for another woman. I forced down the bitterness in my heart. Please let him know that his things are packed and he can come pick them up." Just as I finished speaking, I heard Alex's voice in the background. "Who is it?" "It's Ella. She might be worried about me being with you, so she called to check." The next second, Alex took the phone, his tone full of irritation. "Ella, I told you I need to focus on taking care of Lily for these 3 months. Stop making a fuss, okay?" I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Making a fuss? When I started my studio to save costs and ease the financial burden on Alex's struggling company, I chose a location an hour away from home. Alex knew this but never mentioned picking me up from work. I initially thought he was just a straightforward guy who didn't understand these small gestures of care. Until I found out from Lily's profile that he picked her up for work every day. I called Alex, distraught, to confront him. Alex responded with irritation. "Picking up Lily is on my way. Your studio is in the opposite direction from my office. Can you stop comparing every little thing? Besides, I told you to set up your studio near home. You insisted on that remote place." We had a cold war for several days because of this. In our 3 years of marriage, there were countless similar incidents. Every time we fought over Lily and ended up in a cold war, I would lower my head, unwilling to let go of our relationship. But Alex always believed it was my fault that I apologized first. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my emotions. "I've packed your things. Come and pick them up." When Alex came to get his things, I was also packing. He didn't notice, looking rushed as he took the suitcase I handed him. He seemed a bit embarrassed and tried to reassure me. "It's just 3 months. Once Lily's better, we'll have a child and live happily." I nodded, but my smile didn't reach my eyes. Watching Alex's car drive away from the upstairs window, I turned and packed all my belongings, then called a moving company. 3 months was too long, and I was done waiting. I took everything that belonged to me, leaving behind only a divorce agreement. Finally, looking at the home Alex and I had shared for 3 years, I left without looking back. Chapter 4. I focused on my work and occasionally browsed social media. Lily posted almost daily, sharing various photos of Alex taking care of her. The man even washed her underwear. They didn't look like just friends but more like a couple or even spouses. I laughed at myself. The man who claimed not to know how to do housework turned into a perfect boyfriend for Lily. Every single thing Alex did for Lily felt like a slap in the face. One slap after another. In the comments I noticed a familiar ID, an employee from Alex's company. "Didn't know Mr. Smith could be so caring. So jealous of you." Lily quickly replied with a shy emoji. I stared at the photos, lost in thought. No one at Alex's company knew he was married. With Lily always at his side and their intimate photos on social media, everyone thought they were a couple. I had cried and argued, hoping he would clarify publicly. Alex said making our private matters public would look bad and told Lily to stop posting those ambiguous photos. After that, Lily's updates did decrease. But I knew she had blocked everyone from seeing those posts except me. She was deliberately showing off her closeness with Alex to provoke me, to force me to leave. And Alex, knowing Lily's little schemes, let her get away with it. This was what I couldn't accept. Just then, my assistant walked over. "Boss, the contract with Alex's company was rejected again." I frowned, putting my phone down and taking the draft from my assistant. "Did they say what the issue was?" Alex's company, where I personally handled the designs, always demanded numerous revisions and offered low prices. As our studio grew and gained repeat clients, our prices also increased. Only Alex's company remained unchanged. I thought, as his wife, I shouldn't mind too much. But once, while delivering a project to Alex's company, I overheard the person I was liaising with chatting in the break room. "That small studio owner must have a crush on Mr. Smith. She really grovels. So you keep lowering the price and making things difficult for her? You don't understand. I'm saving the company money. Mr. Smith doesn't like her anyway. She should thank me for giving her a chance to get close to him." I told Alex about this. He laughed it off. Told me to reflect if my work was subpar. But the next day, he had the liaison raise the price. Alex didn't know that, at the time, I had plenty of big clients. I even turned down many commissions to make room for his company. I thought, despite his words, Alex still cared about me. Looking back, I realize he was just giving me a small concession to keep me in check. My assistant looked troubled. The liaison said everything was fine, but she just didn't like it. I paused, then smiled, putting the draft aside. Maybe our studio's design style doesn't suit Alex's company. Tell her to find someone else. My assistant was surprised. Oh, and from now on, we won't take any more projects from that company. Chapter 5. Time flew by. I sold the designs initially intended for Alex's company. The client was pleased and the payment was generous. In high spirits, my creativity flowed. Gradually, looking at Lily's social media posts no longer stirred any emotion. Perhaps sensing our change in attitude, the liaison panicked. After failing to reach me multiple times, she informed Alex. Alex called while I was having dinner with a client. I stepped aside to take the call. Ella, what are you up to? His voice was a mix of anger and tremor. I was taking photos at a tourist spot and replied absent-mindedly. You should have seen the divorce papers on the table. Just sign them and give them to my assistant. Alex's tone was full of disbelief. Are you serious? What else? I was a bit impatient. Sign the papers and we'll finalize the divorce when I get back. I was about to hang up when Alex stopped me. Wait! If this is about Lily, I can explain. His tone softened. Even if we are getting a divorce, we should sit down and talk, right? You can't just decide this on your own. I thought about it. Some things indeed needed to be clarified, so I agreed to meet when I returned. Chapter 6. When the plane landed, Alex was there to pick me up. He seemed to have made a special effort, dressed in the suit and tie I had bought for him. Alex opened the passenger door for me, but I walked past him and got in the back seat instead. His expression stiffened. On the way, he casually asked, "Didn't you always say that the passenger seat was your exclusive spot? Why are you suddenly sitting in the back?" I was sorting through photos on my phone, preparing to post a few nice ones on social media, and responded without thinking. It's not exclusively mine. Lily had probably sat there countless times. Compared to her, I had sat there much less often. Alex was at a loss for words. As we stopped at a red light, he turned to look at me, his expression serious. Are you mad at me? He seemed a bit annoyed. Lily and I really have nothing going on. It's not the way you think. I smiled. Really? Then why don't you ask your friends and colleagues who they think looks more like your spouse, me or Lily? Alex was speechless. The light turned green. Alex gripped the steering wheel, his voice a bit hoarse. I'll be more careful in the future, but divorce isn't a game, Ella. I hope you'll reconsider. I couldn't understand what was going on with him. Didn't he love Lily so much that he couldn't let go? Now that I wanted a divorce, it should be exactly what he wanted. I had Alex drive me to the apartment I rented near my studio. As I got out, he grabbed my wrist. Ella, I don't agree to the divorce. I looked at him calmly, about to speak when his phone rang. Alex pulled his phone from his pocket, saw the caller ID, and hesitated. Go ahead, answer it. It was obviously Lily. Alex pressed his lips together, then released my hand and answered the call. Lily's voice was as fragile as ever. Alex, my leg hurts a bit. Can you come over and check on me? Alex's expression changed slightly. Stay home and don't move. I'll be there soon. After hanging up, he remembered I was still there. Ella, you know Lily is always delicate. I nodded. I know. Alex seemed relieved. Just don't forget to sign the divorce papers. His relief turned into frustration. Ella, do you have to make such a fuss? Lily is in a special situation right now. Why can't you be more understanding? Alex looked at me disappointedly, as if to say, Ella, you've changed. Still concerned about Lily, Alex didn't argue further and drove off after declaring he wouldn't agree to the divorce. That night, I received a multimedia message from an unknown number. It was a photo of Alex and Lily in bed together. The accompanying text was taunting. I heard Alex hasn't touched you in your 3 years of marriage. Ella, why disgrace yourself by staying? I took a screenshot and saved it. Then, I casually replied, sending intimate photos to others? Lily, you sure are bold. Lily didn't respond. Chapter 7. The next morning, Alex showed up at my studio. I had to give him credit for his time management, juggling between 2 women. Ella, I got these steamed buns from your favorite shop. I queued up early to get them. Alex said eagerly, placing the bag on my desk. I glanced at the address on the bag, smiling ironically. Really going out of your way, aren't you? It was a chain restaurant. There was a branch near where we used to live, but this address was near Lily's office. As if to confirm my suspicion, a message from the number last night came through. Alex should be with you by now. I remembered you liked these steamed buns, so I made sure to pack some for him to take. The photo attached showed them having breakfast together at the restaurant. I smiled and replied, Thanks, I hadn't eaten breakfast yet. My earlier response left Alex uneasy. Seeing me engrossed in my phone and not paying attention to him, he couldn't hold back. Ella, you should move back home. It's not safe for a girl to live alone. I casually unwrapped the bag. No, it's too far from my studio. I don't want to wake up early and take the subway to work. Alex hesitated. Then I'll buy you a car. He quickly added, as if worried I'd misunderstand. I mean, it's more convenient than me driving you since our workplaces are in opposite directions. What do you think? I shook my head. Alex gritted his teeth, as if making a difficult decision. Fine, I'll drive you to work every day from now on. Is that okay? Chapter 8. He looked up at me, softening his tone. I'll pick you up and drop you off at work, and we can go on weekend drives. How about that? I looked at him, expressionless. No, Alex, I'm not asking for a divorce to be petty or to play games. I shook my head. We're not right for each other. It's better if we split up. Alex shot up from his chair, eyes red, staring at me intensely. What's not right? I was about to answer when my phone rang. It was the big shot from the awards ceremony who wanted to invest in my solo exhibition. I stood up to leave, but Alex blocked my way. I'm busy right now, Alex. Can you not make a scene? The same words, but this time they came from my mouth. Alex looked at me with a sneer. What, is it that guy you went on a trip with calling? No wonder you want a divorce. Seems like Lily was right. Ella, you're quite the player. Slap. I couldn't hold back anymore and slapped Alex across the face. His head turned to the side, stunned. He hadn't expected me to hit him. Don't project your dirty deeds onto me. Chapter 9. The meeting with the investor went smoothly. I would need to dedicate the next few months to preparing the pieces for my solo exhibition. Since the fallout with Alex, he hadn't come to see me, but Lily was constantly texting, asking where I had hidden her Alex. Fed up, I blocked her number as well. The next time I heard Alex's name was when his partner from the company called, saying Alex was drunk at a bar, calling out my name. I was incredulous. You must be mistaken. I'm not Lily. The caller's tone was strange. No, he was calling for Ella. Alex had been drunk before, and his friends would call me to pick him up. I used to drag him home, only to hear him call out another woman's name. Back then, I felt like my world was falling apart. But I stubbornly believed I could replace Lily in Alex's heart. What I couldn't achieve before happened effortlessly now. All I wanted to do was laugh. Maybe to Alex, what he couldn't have was always the best. Oh, I'm not Ella either. You should find Lily. I hung up. Only a fool would do such a thankless job. The next morning, I was shocked to find someone lying in the hallway. Clutching my pepper spray, I cautiously approached. It was Alex. I frowned and nudged him with my foot. He better not be dead. That would be hard to explain. Alex slowly woke up. Seeing me, his eyes lit up with joy, then dimmed, looking somewhat pitiful. Why didn't you come to get me? I didn't understand what game he was playing now. Ella, you used to come for me. Alex staggered to his feet, reaching out to hug me. Don't you love me anymore? I stepped back, avoiding his touch, and answered calmly. That's right. Chapter 10. The meeting with the investor went smoothly. I would need to dedicate the next few months to preparing the pieces for my solo exhibition. Since the fallout with Alex, he hadn't come to see me, but Lily was constantly texting, asking where I had hidden her Alex. Fed up, I blocked her number as well. The next time I heard Alex's name was when his partner from the company called, saying Alex was drunk at a bar, calling out my name. I was incredulous. You must be mistaken. I'm not Lily. The caller's tone was strange. No, he was calling for Ella. Alex had been drunk before, and his friends would call me to pick him up. I used to drag him home, only to hear him call out another woman's name. Back then, I felt like my world was falling apart. But I stubbornly believed I could replace Lily in Alex's heart. What I couldn't achieve before happened effortlessly now. All I wanted to do was laugh. Maybe to Alex, what he couldn't have was always the best. Oh, I'm not Ella either. You should find Lily. I hung up. Only a fool would do such a thankless job. The next morning, I was shocked to find someone lying in the hallway. Clutching my pepper spray, I cautiously approached. It was Alex. I frowned and nudged him with my foot. He better not be in serious trouble. That would be hard to explain. Alex slowly woke up. Seeing me, his eyes lit up with joy, then dimmed, looking somewhat pitiful. Why didn't you come to get me? I didn't understand what game he was playing now. Ella, you used to come for me. Alex staggered to his feet, reaching out to hug me. Don't you love me anymore? I stepped back, avoiding his touch, and answered calmly. That's right. Chapter 11. The air instantly chilled. After a long pause, Alex spoke hoarsely. Why? You loved me so much. How can you just stop? Without thinking, I responded. Because I don't like sharing my husband. The words sharing my husband made Alex's face change. Before he could argue, I pulled out my phone and showed him the evidence. Your old excuses are worn out. I'm tired of hearing them. I flipped through the photos one by one. I've figured it out. You always wanted to marry her, and I was just an inconvenient obstacle. Divorce, split the assets. You can give me more as compensation if you want. I said bluntly. But we must divorce. I had saved every screenshot from Lily's social media posts, and now it was time to return them. Alex's face turned pale as I showed him the photos. His voice trembled. I didn't know Lily posted these. I told her to block you. I smiled. So you admit you did all these things with her. You beg me not to divorce you, but one call from Lily and you leave me to be with her. You say you queued up early to get me steamed buns, but you actually had breakfast with her and brought them along. You've done everything a husband should do with Lily. You don't want a divorce because you're upset that I'm no longer clinging to you. Alex, I've had enough. I won't deceive myself anymore. We knew each other once. Please, let me go. Chapter 12. Even after laying everything out, Alex still refused to sign the papers. I didn't care. If he wouldn't sign, I'd take it to court. In court, I presented all the evidence of his infidelity. The outcome was clear. Not only did I win the divorce, but the judge also awarded me an additional 10% of the assets. With money and time on my hands, my solo exhibition was coming together nicely. I couldn't stop smiling. Lily, having waited all these years, finally saw me and Alex divorce. She immediately went to his company, announcing she was expecting and asking when they would get married. Alex threw her out. Lily was stunned, not understanding why Alex had suddenly changed. She thought I was behind it and stormed into my studio, causing a scene. I didn't tolerate her antics, calling the police to report a disturbance. Alex had to bail her out from the station. Her outburst made it impossible for Alex to keep our divorce a secret. Everyone learned that Alex had been married, not to Lily, but to me. Their intimate behavior was well known. His disloyalty was undeniable. While no one said anything publicly, gossip spread like wildfire. Someone even posted about it on social media, and the story went viral. Netizens dug up information about Alex's company and the people involved. Suddenly, the internet was buzzing, and Alex's company's stock plummeted. Lily was fired for personal misconduct. As the wronged spouse, my solo exhibition gained tremendous attention. On the day of the exhibition, the female manager from Alex's company came over with a glass of wine, looking apologetic. "I'm sorry, Miss Ella. I thought Alex and Lily were a couple, so..." I smiled indifferently. Let's not dwell on the past. Welcome to the exhibition. Your work is excellent. Thank you. Free from the past, my future could only get better. Chapter 13. Alex's perspective. I never thought Ella would divorce me. After all, she loved me so much. I met Ella at a friend's party. Unlike the delicate Lily, Ella was cheerful and optimistic, like a little sun, seemingly unbreakable. Back then, I was heartbroken over Lily leaving for abroad. Perhaps my friends saw my feelings and tried to set me up with Ella. They arranged for me to drive her home. Ella, sitting in the passenger seat, was quiet and reserved, different from her lively self at the party. I observed her in the rearview mirror. With just one glance, I knew Ella had a crush on me. For some reason, I thought being with a girl like Ella wouldn't be so bad. She wasn't fragile like Lily. She didn't need much attention. Even during fights, she wouldn't need coaxing. A few days of cold shoulder, and she'd come around. Everything would be back to normal. I must admit, being with Ella was easy. Even though I knew I didn't love her. After a few years of dating, my parents started pressuring me to marry. I knew they liked Ella. Life seemed okay this way, but late at night, I'd fiddle with my wedding ring, feeling restless. Until Lily messaged me, saying she was back in the country and wanted me to pick her up. I agreed without much thought. I must have really loved Lily. She was my first love, my lost and found treasure. After marrying Ella, I never touched her. Not because I didn't want to, but because Lily never gave me the chance. Every time I was about to do something, Lily would call. So, between Lily and Ella, I always chose Lily. It didn't matter. I told myself, Ella would always be there. A little delay wouldn't hurt. Until Lily had an accident and needed hospitalization. To take care of Lily, I took Ella to the hospital for a checkup and told her that I would take care of Lily for 3 months and then we could have a child. But 3 months later, I came home to find only a divorce agreement on the table. No one would wait for me forever. Ella! I swallowed the bitter liquor, repeating her name in my mind. If only I could choose again. I would choose her.